Hello, I am Aviva Lee, reporting live from the International Press Center in Jerusalem for I-24/6 TV. A few moments ago, I received confirmation from Mr. Erez Shani, the Chief of Protocol for the Mayor of Jerusalem, that the mayor had in fact met with Mr. Bush at the King David Hotel in Jerusalem. Jerusalem's mayor, the Honorable Lupolianski, met with the President of the United States shortly after 2:30 this afternoon. That meeting took place without coverage from the press. And other than the dignitaries Mr. Bush met on the tarmac at Ben Gurion Airport, the Honorable Mayor Uri Lupolianski was the first official with whom President Bush met here in Jerusalem. It was planned that the mayor of the holiest city on earth would present President Bush with an engraving of Heinrich Bunting's 1582 cloverleaf map, which portrays the city of Jerusalem as being at the center of this inhabited world. It was also planned that the mayor would present President Bush and members of his entourage with his personal signed letter of invitation, that they all take this opportunity to enjoy the city of Jerusalem. The letter explained that the very word Jerusalem has as its root the Hebrew word shalom, which means peace. The mayor closed his letter by stating, and I quote, "Today we pray that this visit succeeds and leads to another step in realizing our age-old hopes for peace," end quote. From the King David Hotel, the Bush entourage proceeded to Hanassi. The official guest book sat solitary on a table flanked by the flags of the sovereign state of Israel and the United States of America, and silence ensued as the guests at the official residence for the President of Israel received due notice that the convoy was arriving. The official entourage arrived escorted by no less than 4 agents on motorcycles leading the procession. After leaving the limousine, Mr. Bush was greeted by a children's choir. President Bush stopped initially, joining the children with President Peres and shaking hands with a few of the children who were all singing Shalom Aleichem. The president briefly exchanged a remark with Mr. Peres and was then asked to sign the guest book. Prior to the signing, a child sang a Hebrew, Arabic, and English rendition of the famed song, "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." Both presidents were smiling, and the children's welcome ended with a brief finale of dancers stepping to Shalom Aleichem. Then the two presidents exited the grand reception hall to their working meeting. After they were both seated with their respective staffs, a few pool reporters from the press were permitted to tape their remarks. The President of Israel opened that session. He welcomed the President of the United States, saying the office had been dignified by the character which Mr. Bush had brought to the White House. Speaking briefly about peace, Mr. Peres partially reiterated the comments which he gave a few days ago when he officially welcomed the Christian clergy and wished them a happy 2008. The remark Mr. Peres made that day and the remark he made today was that, and I quote, "This year could be a year for the making of lasting peace," end quote. He went on to expound concerning the economic initiatives that are required to build a constructive coalition for peace. President Bush responded, "I am just following your example. You are well respected, and I bring you my respect and the respect of the American people." Mr. Bush continued by reiterating his remarks made at Ben Gurion today, that those who would murder the innocent must be confronted. He enlarged upon that concept by recalling the horrors committed against humanity during World War II, and he further stated that the war against those who murder innocents is being waged even today in Iraq, Afghanistan, Lebanon, and in capitals of European nations. The President closed his taped remarks at that moment by stating, "We must be steadfast in defeating this ideology of hatred by being constant in our ideology of hope." And that concludes this edition of Fact Without Commentary. I am Aviva Lee, reporting live from the International Press Center in the holiest city on earth for Israel 24/6 TV. Please check back today for my continued coverage of the visit of President George W. Bush to the sovereign state of Israel. Thank you, and shalom.